Hey, my 2nd through 5th grade leaders, welcome. This week in week number 2, we are still talking about friendships, and today's big bottom line is friends keep their promises. And so we're diving into the story of David and Mephibosheth, where basically David and his best friend Jonathan made a promise, and David kept that promise later on to Jonathan so that his son Mephibosheth would be taken care of with his family once David became king. And so all of this is happening, and basically it is all about keeping their promise because they had a really good promise and bond that they kept together. And so today we are diving in, and today's first activity, what you're doing is you're getting some Hershey's Kisses, and you have enough for each kid to do this twice. Okay, so first service, make sure you leave enough for the second service to make this happen. But basically they're able to do this twice. We don't have Jolly Ranchers, we just have Hershey's Kisses, so just use the Hershey's Kisses one twice, and do it however you want to do it based on this context. But what you can do is basically they're putting it on their tongue, and they're trying to see how long they can keep it without, like, swallowing, or without whoever melts it the fastest. However you want to play it in one of those two different ways or something similar, do it fun like that. But basically it's like a big competition between all the different people on how fast it goes away, or if they swallow or not, that kind of thing. And so this next activity, what you're doing is you have a picture memory activity page, and it looks kind of like this. And what they're doing with this is they are trying to remember as many things as they can about this picture, and they can write the things down or whatever, but you're going to show it to them for about 60 seconds and then completely hide it to where they can't see it anymore and remember what all was going on in the picture. So see how many details that they can remember when you do that. And basically they can write down on that piece of paper all the different things that they remember. And then they maybe have like 60 seconds or so, or 30 seconds, however long you want to give them, to rewrite down after those 60 seconds of looking at it, right? And so as they do that, or once you're done with that, you'll go off into a large group and hear from the Bible story, where we'll talk about all those different things. And what we're doing after that, when you come back, is you have a promise choices activity page. And it kind of looks like this. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to have them take turns taking one of the strips from the stack, and once they do that, they're going to read the strip out loud for the group and then choose whether they would keep that promise or break that promise. Okay, and so hopefully they would be able to keep the promises that they're supposed to be keeping based on the different scenarios that are on here. And so it's simple things like you promised your little brother you would play Candyland with him after school, but then your best friend invited you to come over to study. Do you keep that promise to your brother, or do you break it to go hang out with your own friends? And so again, it's just about being that, keeping your promises, the ones that you actually had. And so hopefully they'll be able to realize that they should keep their promises no matter what, right? And so this next one, you have a timeline telephone activity page. What you're doing with this one is you'll have two different groups basically that are going together on this one, and whichever group gets the phrase the closest at the end wins. That's the goal of this game. So basically what you're doing is you're playing telephone, and you're starting at, if everyone's lined up in a line and the Davids are at the very end of it, then you show the first kid in the line the card, and these will all be like cut out and stuff for you to where you just kind of give them one, and they can be random. And once they see that card, they're supposed to whisper it to the person and the next that's next in line, and then it goes all the way down until it gets to the last person in line. Now, the last person in line, the person that gets it the closest to what it was originally, is the winner for that round. And so make sure that you're whispering quiet enough to where the multiple people down the line can't hear it, but to where it's still effective enough to where they can hear it if they're whispering to that person specifically. So that's how you're going to do that one. And then you have a couple of good questions at the bottom of that as well, to wrap up that game. Then you have some good discussion questions on the next page as well, so definitely go through those too. Then you have a memory verse activity, and what you're doing with this is you're going to have them set up in different spaces, and they're going to look up different verses that in their own Bibles. And so have them look at those verses in the Bibles and then talk about the different ways that God kept his promises in those verses. Okay, and so you can do this in different groups and then discuss, or you can have them all look up all those different verses, whatever works for you guys. If you're running short on time, maybe do different groups, and then they can all discuss discuss like what was the promise that was listed in that verse, and then also how to, if God actually kept that promise and whatnot. And yes, the answer is yes, God always keeps his promises, right? And so that's something really encouraging and something you can talk to them about, is that God always keeps his promises. Then you have your last activity, which is a daily prayer friend activity page. What they're doing here is they are going through different prayer requests that they can pray about for each day. And so maybe they have like a soccer game coming up, or maybe they have they know that someone has a surgery coming up or something like that. And maybe they can pray for those different things. And I want you to try to encourage them to come up with a prayer request that they can pray for each and every day. And then they'll be able to take this home and put it on their wall or whatever, their mirror. Encourage them to do that and then pray for those things on that specific day as it comes up during the week. And that's it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for all that you guys do. We'll see you guys in a little bit.